All right, welcome to Phins Kingdom Week 6. Jonathan Lippy with my man Tay Kim. What is going on, Tay, in the kingdom?
I am fucking fired up for tonight's game. I'm ready to play the Donkeys. Hopefully we can lay a 70 burger like the Phins did, and then let everybody else know that this is not a tough game. And this might be the Russell Wilson downfall official game. The game that I could actually see him getting sat or benched.
Do you have even a minuscule concern that this is a divisional game, regardless of what's happened to the Broncos in the past? They got to pull it together to scrounge up their season. They got embarrassed to Hackett last week. Like all the factors, they hit rock bottom. Losing to the Jets, dirty style.
Yes, I did. I actually was a bit concerned about the game a little bit, but I did some research before the game to make me feel a little bit better. Let me talk to you about what I came up with here, right? So what I came up with was I looked at their last 5 games, which is because we're 5 weeks in, right? And share my screen here. So I went to ESPN.com and I just looked through all of these games that they played, and I looked at the fact that they played against Jimmy Garoppolo and lost. They lost to Sam Howell. They were absolutely destroyed by Tua. They played Justin Fields and barely won that game. And they lost to the guy that's supposed to be that might lose his job this year. So I'm feeling really good about it. But what's even better about this is I started looking at the statistics of the quarterbacks, right? And each one of the quarterbacks that I looked at, for instance, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's at 107.9 for his QBR, for his rating. And every single quarterback that's played the Broncos has had the best rating they've had all season. It's their season best. So I'm feeling pretty good about this because there's anyone who I believe can actually have a good game against a team that's giving up so many yards, so many touchdowns, so many scores. I think it's Patrick Mahomes.
Here's the I did not realize till you showed us this data. Could you bring that up real quick one more time?
Yeah.
I thought the Broncos were getting their butts kicked left and right. They actually easily could have 3 wins right now. I did not realize
that. You remember week 1? Remember they kind of blew that game at the very end against the Raiders, right?
Yeah, so that's a 1-point loss. That doesn't scream we're garbage. That screams we just can't finish.
That's true, but it's gotten progressively worse, right? So Jimmy Garoppolo, he had a 107.9 rating.
Look, the Broncos were winning that game 13-10 going into the 4th.
Sam Howell had a 108.8 rating in this game.
And the Broncos were winning that. Look at that. The Broncos were winning that game going into the 4th too. So they were winning after 3 in both of those games. Okay, now don't even bother with the Dolphins. We know what happened there.
And then let's talk about the Tua 155.8 rating. And Mike White. I mean, I didn't even talk about Mike White. I wasn't even going to bring him up. But yeah, might as well bring him up, So and now it's been getting progressively worse. And they're losing to bad teams, not just losing to the Dolphins, but they're losing to bad teams. Like, and again, they barely beat the Bears from a walk-off. And on paper, they should be that much better than that. But even Justin Fields had a 132.7 rating, and this is after getting mollywopped by so many teams previously, and everyone was worried that Justin Fields was going to get replaced, and he's no good. And here's where we're at today. So,
okay, yeah, I'm just saying I didn't realize that the Broncos weren't as bad as I thought. They had some close games. They got blown up by the Dolphins, and then they lost to the Jets in a game where they might have been able to win that one as well if they didn't blow that one. So I don't think it's a cupcake, but the Chiefs should win. I got the Chiefs, and we'll get to that soon. Are there any new players for the Chiefs this week? Because it seemed like the past couple of weeks they were either picking people up or people were coming off of the injured or people were going on the injured.
I think Kelsey was probable to play today, but I don't really know who's going to stand out. Is that what you're saying? Or are you talking about
Are you saying Kelsey might not play today?
Yeah, he had another injury in practice earlier this week, but
Oh wow.
he's probable to play.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is
but
is he going to be rocking that new Mr. Pfizer jersey?
we'll see. Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe you
You
wear a
get
Johnson Jets jersey or something like that pregame. You know?
you gonna get one of them blue Mr. Pfizer jerseys there?
No, I look better in red. So you look good in blue though.
I'll get a Pfizer and a Johnson & Johnson one.
There you go. So, well, so what do you want to talk about? Anything hot on your mind that you want to get kind of covered, or?
No, not really. I mean, if you want to recap these games that we had last week and see how we did, see how you did, see how I did, there was some wild ones there. I think that the Jaguars beat the Bills, and so you were right on that because you said that the Jaguars stayed in town. They were staying in Europe, and so they had the home field advantage for being acclimated to the weather there.
Yep. I just there's something that's kind of that I've noticed in a trend, right? And it's been kind of with the really good teams and them blowing out a team. So I got a big upset special this week, by the way. So really excited about talking about that. But like I just felt like Buffalo felt like they won their Super Bowl the week before.
Yeah.
You know, just as in the week before that, the Dolphins kind of like won their in-week Super Bowl, you know, against hanging 70, you know. And so I thought the Dolphins kind of hit a peak. The Bills were sitting there on the sidelines just watching what was going on. And then this week, Jacksonville's just sitting here watching the Bills pound their chest and thumping that they're the best team ever. And all of a sudden they humbled them. So like the NFL is really good at humbling teams, is what I noticed.
Yeah.
So,
And the Jags were coming off of, was it the Chiefs that they lost to the previous week? Or they lost, no, I think they lost to somebody else that they shouldn't have lost to.
yeah, so I think let me see here. Jacksonville did win the week before against Atlanta. And they did it pretty convincingly. But the last bad loss
right.
that they had was against.
Wow, so the Jags went 2-0.
No, they lost. They lost the Texans, didn't they? They lost this game.
Yeah, that was a bad loss. That was like a bad one. So your sandwich thing kind of made sense. It's like they lost to a bad team. They needed to make it up against a good team. And now the Jags are respectable where they're at. They're still underachieving based on what we had thought they would be doing at this one. All right, so let's add these up. What do we got?
Yeah, so I think for the morning games we were pretty much neck and neck the whole time, and then towards the end of towards the night games, I absolutely tanked. So, but
I was 8-6, and you were 5-9. Really?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
But hey, I will tell you, I never end up. I've noticed something. I never end up betting what I actually talk about on this podcast, because the day of, I typically check out all the statistics in the morning. I see who's playing, and so that usually works out a lot better. I actually did a lot better with my actual money than I did with this play money and the space money. So
who actually won the game? The Bears Commanders. I don't even remember the outcome.
I'm pretty sure. Didn't the Bears come back and win?
Oh, that was the Thursday night game. Oh, yeah. No, I remember.
Yeah.
I blacked out to that game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were betting on the second. We were betting second half.
Yeah, because I just assumed that it was going to fall apart, right? And so, I mean, don't get me wrong, Commanders scored more points, but I think the spread was, I think it was 7 or something like that, and I think the Bears just barely, covered that. But yeah, that was a really bad game for the Commanders.
Yeah, at one point I did take Commanders plus 16, thinking that they would, and they got it. They got it within, and then they let the Bears score again.
Yep.
So, but yeah, all right. Well, that was I felt good falling asleep to that one. I had a cold at the time, and that was a good one. That was a good game. And
it was a good game. It was actually fun to watch because, yeah, up until this point, the Bears have been really, really bad, and I just don't know what's going on with the Commanders. But I think I've got the solution for the Commanders. It's to bring Kirk Cousins back. I want to see the Washington Commanders trade for Kirk Cousins, because I think that they have a team for him right now. They didn't have that before when he was the first time around, and I think with this whole talk about trading Kirk Cousins, he's apparently on everybody's list for trade targets, and I like him. I can see him back in Washington. Can't you?
Yeah, I mean, would you rather see him on the Jets or see him on the Commanders?
I don't think the Jets have the money to do it. I mean, they gave Rodgers a ton of money, and so like they're still paying him out. I mean, maybe they have some
Yeah.
money for this year,
Oh,
but I think they would rather focus on this year, progressing their future, than bringing in a Kirk Cousins. They already have Aaron Rodgers there. I see this. I see the Commanders more of a target than I do anybody else, or the Falcons.
so the Falcons were another team that like who are in the theoretical Kirk Cousins sweepstakes right now?
I've heard, obviously, the Jets' name is the biggest one. I've heard some Broncos rumblings to
Mm,
kind of just change it
really?
up a little bit. Yeah, I have. I have heard. See, let me look at this list. I've heard the Falcons, and I also heard the Saints too as well. But the Saints don't really make sense because of all the money they gave to Carr. So
Yeah, and he's doing okay. I mean, he's not
yeah, no,
killing it,
he's
but
not
he's
doing bad. Yeah,
passable. Yeah.
yeah.
Weird. Okay. Well, yeah, if the Commanders get Kirk back, that Commander Kirk, we'll have to
Well, hey, what
change it
about the Titans?
From Captain Kirk to Commander Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, what about the Titans? They
See,
have a good team. They've got Hopkins, and he's being wasted right now.
okay, I might have told you this. I don't know if I told you this on the show. I probably told you it on the text that the Titan, any team that's going to get Tannehill is going to be in perpetual, because he's not
Mediocre
great, but
status. Yes.
he's good. He's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He's not an awesome quarterback. He's just good. Like he's not average. He's just above average, right? And he's like a 80. He's a B student, okay? Whether it's the 83% grading scale, he's at the bottom of the B. He's not an A student and he's not a C student. He
I think
he's
he's a C student.
he's on that. No, if he's a C student, he'd have a 79%, but I think he's got an 80. Or if it's the grading scale, it's 83. He's got an 83. Like he's just enough that he's got the lowest possible B.
Yep.
The
But see,
lowest
B is like
possible B.
B is like passing. I kind of feel like, and C's passing too, but C is barely just passing, right? Because D is
Yeah.
starting to get to the point where you're whatever. But like, he's the kind of, I think he's the type of kid who sat in class and tried to cheat on the guy in the A and just needed glasses, and if he copied hard enough, you'd get an A. But yeah, no,
But
he's a C student.
this no, but this is how you know he's good, because if let's say he got just completely cut or released, he'd have a job by the end of the day. He'd be
Is
scooped
that
up like
true? Do you think so?
absolute. Who? I mean, at a minimum, any team would want him as a backup.
It in the end, well, okay, I agree with that, but that doesn't make you a B starter. That doesn't make you a B.
When you okay, well, here's the thing: when you bring him in, right? You might, no
Well,
matter
that's
what
it.
people
Okay,
say
so
about him, and
yeah,
then once you bring him
okay,
into the quarterback room and you look at what you got, you go, man, we're gonna start Tannehill, even though we know what's gonna happen. But how could we not start this guy? Look at this guy. And when you
okay.
see
So
him,
I'm looking, yeah, I'm looking at all these teams, and I'm trying to think who I would actually rather have starting over Tannehill. And there's not a lot of teams on this that I would actually rather have starting. And to me, some of these teams have B quarterbacks. So, so that's my thought process. I mean, like, if you want to go down the list, we can. Personally, you know, I look at it, and maybe he might be better than Sam Howell. You know, but Sam has actually had some pretty good games too. Like, and he's actually looked like a decent quarterback sometimes. He's
if
also a
you had him,
rookie.
but what I mean is if you had them both, okay, one, you okay, let's say you're a bottom tier team right now, right? And your season's not going so good, and the Titans say, you know what, we had it, we're just cutting Tannehill. How you hear like Tannehill just got cut, released, like they don't even want to trade him. You don't have to give anything up. All you got to do is just sign the guy. And you're sitting there, and you're like, oh man, I mean that guy is just perpetually a 9-8 quarterback, but you can't help yourself but take him. And then once you take him, you're stuck with him forever.
All right, I have to look at his stats now because from what I've seen, he's looked really bad this year. But well, let's look this up real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So against the Saints, I mean, 3 interceptions, 198 yards.
Mm-hmm.
16 to 34. That's not really good. And this is against a good defense. The Saints are good defensively. Chargers barely got past. He had a decent game, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it's these it's
Yeah,
they got
I'm not
smoked.
saying
They
he.
got
I'm not
smoked.
saying he's. I'm not even saying
I
he's
just
on
don't.
the first two tiers. He's a third tier QB,
Okay.
but he's gonna linger around forever. He's
Yeah.
he's always gonna be picked up by somebody.
So are you saying he's the new? He's kind of like the Fitzpatrick of the NFL.
Well, no, because see, Fitzpatrick gets kicked around. When you get Tannehill, the problem is you get stuck with him for 7 years because you can't find anything that's better than him.
Yeah, so he's the Andy Dalton of the Tennessee Titans, and at the time the Dolphins.
Yeah. Because here's what's going to happen: your team's going to go 8-8 or 9-8 perpetually, and you're always going to think like, man, maybe he's going to figure out how to evade the pass rush, and it never is going to happen. But you always think it's going to happen, and it never will. But you'll continuously be 9-8, which means you're drafting in the middle, and you're never getting a high draft pick. You're not even getting the low draft pick. You're just perpetually in the middle, and it's going to happen every single season. So you're never getting top tier picks. You're always just going to be in the middle. It's perpetual averageness. And you can never get somebody that's better because you're never going to draft high enough to get a QB that's better than Tannehill. See, that's the thing. He's just good enough that you can't get anything that's available that's better. Here's how I know. Like all these years, when he was on when he was on the Dolphins, Dolphin fans were like, "Man, we got to get rid of Tannehill." And I'd say, "All right, fine. Who are you going to get? Kevin Cobb, Colin Kaepernick?" Like, there was no realistic option because the Dolphins were perpetually 9-8.
I agree with you, but there's a lot of good quarterbacks that are coming out of in this year's draft and the next year's too as well. So
the Titans are going to be 9-8. And they're not going to be able to pick high. That's the problem.
All right. We're clearly spending too much time on Tannehill right now.
Everybody is tanking right now. Like half the league is tanking. By the way, Ryan Tannehill is 37th all time on the all time passing yardage list. Okay, he's got
how many years has he played? 37 years.
He's played from 2012 to 2023, and he missed an entire season in that whole mix. And another one, he was a backup to Mariota. And he's 3 spots behind Ryan Fitzpatrick, by the way, to take the 34th spot, and 1 behind Jay Cutler. Jim Kelly is 32nd, by the way. Jim Kelly had 35,000. How many years did Jim Kelly played 10 seasons?
Yeah, 10 seasons, and how many is Tannehill at?
He's at 11, but he's only been available for 10.
Okay,
and he's got 1,000 less yards than Jim Kelly.
Tannehill is also playing in a quarterback league.
Okay.
Or everything's a pass interference or whatever. And he's also, Kelly had a lot of good weapons back in the day, but I remember the Titans.
Just letting you know.
The Titans have always had some good receivers too as well. I just think that he's benefited a lot from being on a really, really good defense and always having Derrick Henry to get to 9 wins. He's just nothing to do. He's not been the quarterback to help him get to 11, 12 wins.
I'm just giving you the reasons why Tannehill is the biggest curse that you could have. It's because you can't offload him, because you can't get anything that's better. He's got these accolades. But anyway, let's move on. That's Tannehill. I'm not even caping for Tannehill. I'm just telling you the what happens when you have him on your team.
Yeah, I understand.
You can't get rid of him and you can't replace him. So, I mean, it literally took it took his injury for us to get rid of him. All right. All right. Bears Commanders we covered. Jacksonville Buffalo we covered. The Jags went 2-0 in Europe. That's pretty cool. 2-0. 2 weeks in a row. The Bills got lost, which is huge for the Dolphins. That puts the Dolphins in sole position in the AFC East, and puts them tied with the for the same record with the Chiefs for the AFC Conference. Although since the Dolphins lost to the Bills, they have a divisional loss, which gives the Chiefs the upper hand in a head-to-head.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a few weeks from now. Hopefully, both teams can go unscathed, and we're playing in Germany for with a chance to potentially really take a big lead into the AFC Championship Conference, or at least the number one seed, because that's huge. That having that first week bye. So yeah, we're starting to kind of schedules are starting to really kind of kind of come into play here, and we're really starting to see which teams are separating from the pack, which is great. But yeah, I'm excited, man. It's Buffalo losing that game was exactly what I always think of Buffalo. They have the highest highs and they have the lowest lows, and
well, they seem to have a problem with the Jaguars.
As a Dolphins fan, I'm sure you probably love that. So
yeah, well, last year or the year before, don't forget, it was the big Josh Allen sacks Josh Allen game. Do you remember when the Jaguars really upset the Bills and that put the Jaguars on the map last? I think it was last year. That really put them on the map. It was the Josh Allen versus Josh Allen game. I think Allen had like 7 sacks of Josh Allen. Do you recall that, right? Yeah. So, that didn't happen this time, but the fact that the Jags took out the Bills twice now. I think it's 2 in a row. So they seem to have the Bills number.
They do.
All right, next one was now Ravens and Steelers. What the heck happened here? Also, did Kenny Pickett call his own play? Like, did he audible out of the coach's play? I saw something about it, but I didn't get a chance to look into it.
I didn't really see too much of the game, but I ended up betting that Sunday Steelers money line. I'll show you the evidence too as well. But I listened to CBS Sports the morning before. I had no idea that Lamar Jackson was 1-6 going into that game against the Steelers. I think it's kind of like Joe Burrow always playing the Browns. So he kind of doesn't play well against the Browns, and I think that something that the Steelers do, they kind of have Lamar Jackson's number, and yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that game, but I guess history kind of should have told us that we should have went the other way.
The Ravens are still the better team. The Steelers just, they came to bring it. So
did you look at the playoff standings in that division? Who's leading the division?
No, I'm checking right now. Steelers are Steelers. They're all Steelers are 3-2, Ravens are 3-2, Browns 2-2, and the Bengals are 2-3. Well, that's good. That hierarchy is gonna shift many times throughout the season. And
we'll see. Where I don't think any of those teams are great, but I think any one of those teams can beat each other on any given day. And we're starting to see that too, right? With the Steelers, who we all thought would probably be the worst team in the division, kind of beating the best team. And by the way, in our first podcast, I actually picked the Steelers to win the division. But the Ravens, they pretty much kind of beat the Bengals, but they lost to, no, hold on. Did they beat the Browns too as well? I'm not sure. Either way, I think all of those teams are kind of just right there with each other. I don't really think that the Ravens are that much head and above all the other teams watching these games. I don't think the Ravens are that good.
Do you know what team has given up the most points in the AFC?
The Donkeys, the Broncos.
No, it is the Broncos. But second
it hadn't been the Broncos.
Yeah, second is the Dolphins, though. And the only reason why I thought of that is that the Steelers, while they lead the AFC North, they have a net of minus 31 points of, versus the points they scored versus points allowed. They're leading the division with a minus 31.
I think they had one bad game, didn't they?
Yeah. Dude, the Patriots are minus 76, which is the worst in the AFC. And let me check the NFC. So the Patriots have the worst point differential out of everybody.
I don't think we've scored a touchdown in a few weeks.
Yeah, no, I know, right? And they're keeping Mac Jones in there. I don't know why they're not trying Zappy just to try him. But regardless, all right, let's we're gonna have to speed the pace somewhat on these. So okay, Panthers, Lions, and I can't believe I thought the Panthers were gonna keep it close, but the Lions are for real, basically.
They did exactly what they are for real. They're a top. Gosh, maybe top 7, top 8 team. Could be top 5. I think. I don't completely trust them yet. I don't know why I don't, because they are a good team, but
Yeah.
they're slowly they're showing up. So
Yeah. Yep. Texans Falcons. So this was a really close one. Dude, Younghoe Koo making these last second field goals is
yeah, he is.
it's a trend. I mean, I feel like he gets the least amount of credit as a kicker, but that dude's got a lot of game winners that most people don't realize. The reason I realize it is because he kicked a game winner against the Dolphins last year, and I knew going into the game, I'm watching him. I'm like, man, this guy Koo's gonna wind up winning this freaking game, and he did. And I've seen him do it multiple times now, and he did it in that one too.
Yeah. I was pretty much going to comment on that too as well. I had the Texans. The Texans had the lead, and of course, but they don't have Young Ho. So
Yeah, and I think Desmond Ritter finally came alive. Did he put up like a good statistical game for the first time?
I think so. I thought he had a decent game where he finally showed like he was an actual quarterback.
Yeah, and Drake London
It,
actually put up some fantasy points finally.
just hey, what are they doing with Kyle Pitts? I don't.
Yeah.
I feel like he needs to be traded, but we'll talk
Yeah.
about that on another day. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know. Kyle Pitts has only had like one breakout game in 2 seasons that I could recall. That was just like, whoa, okay, Kyle Pitts, and then not much else. But all right, Chiefs versus Viking. Wait, what? Oh, that was last week. Okay, yeah, Chiefs Vikings, dude. I I did take the Chiefs and I took the money line because the money line was so low. I don't know why it was so low. It was like less than minus 200. It was like minus 180. I'm like, you can let me bet on the Chiefs minus 180. I'll take that.
yeah,
And
free money. Let's do it.
free money. So yeah, I mean it's your Chiefs. What do you think about the game?
I would have liked this game to be a little bit more than what it was. I know. We kind of we didn't take charge really early in this game, but right after half, came out immediately, scored 2 touchdowns. Started taking control of this game. This was another Kirk Cousins attempted comeback game and fell short again. I know that there was some people on Twitter blaming the refs for the Vikings losing the game, but at the end of the day, they should never fall behind so big. They're doing it every single week.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I was concerned for a short period of time in that game where it looked like the Chiefs were going to let the Vikings hang around too long, but then they pulled it away near the end. But I was getting a little sweaty at one point, but
Yeah, they score points in bulk. That's
yeah,
how they score. I wish they could be a little more consistent with how they score, but when they score, they will score 3 straight touchdowns in a row or 3 straight points in a row. They don't seem to have this thing where they consistently can play the same, game over and over and over again. But yeah, when they get hot and it's normally 1 quarter of the game or 2 quarters, they will just score every single time they have the ball. And so, but I also still think they're trying to figure out the receiver situation. I think Rashid Rice is becoming the true one on our team. And I think he's got more receptions than Kelsey does this year. So, but yeah, we'll see. I still think they're trying to figure out and they're trying to do some rotations there. So,
hey, my guy Watson's number 2 with receiving yardage, right behind
yes,
Kelsey.
he is. Yeah, he is. So
maybe that's the 1 and 2 combo there. You got anything else on the Chiefs?
No, we'll definitely be talking about them more against the Donkeys here pretty shortly. So.
Okay, Saints Patriots. Those poor Patriots got their faces kicked in.
That was bad. I didn't think. I don't know why I picked the Patriots, but man, the Saints really poured it on. Mac Jones looks absolutely lost. Their offense looks completely lost. How many times did the Saints defense score? I mean, I looked at my DraftKings and I think they scored 37 points for me.
Yeah, the Patriots without Matt Judon, it's a big different situation.
Yeah.
But all right, Titans Colts. I guess because I was on a Tannehill kick. See what happens when you pick the Titans. That's bad things.
I mean, listen. Every other week, you're going to get a different Tannehill. So last week, everyone saw Tannehill beating the Bengals, and now this week, you saw him stinking it up against the Colts. So, and Anthony Richardson goes down. You should have thought there was a good chance that he was going to go down because he's been getting injured a lot. And Minshew Mania went off again. And yeah, I know
Well,
that makes you happy.
I'll ask you this. So I know you're big on Richardson, but at this point in the season, if you were the head coach of the Colts when Richardson's back, are you still rolling with Richardson, or are you going with the mustache?
He's their guy. He is their guy.
Okay.
Minshew was brought in to be a backup quarterback, and it's not like Anthony Richardson has done really anything wrong. It's
True.
just the problem. The only thing is that he is running a little too early. He is playing. He played really well until he got injured in that game. But I don't know. I'm starting to think that any team you put behind that line and those weapons, I think they're going to be all right. The Colts are a really, really dangerous team. I bet they make the playoffs this year.
Colts 3-2, so
yeah,
anything's possible. Then we get the Giants and the Dolphins. Did you get any chance to see the A-Chain tear it up for?
Yeah, I ended up putting him on DraftKings card. He scored, I think, 34 or 35 points for me. I mean, I know it was a waste of money, but yeah, I had him on my lineup, and he played very well.
Yeah, the Dolphins probably could have had a lot more points. The Giants looked like they were going to play the Dolphins close at the very beginning, but that got charged to the game real quick. Dolphins just have so many weapons, and I don't even think they even played a good game, honestly, against the Giants. They just had some big plays, but good for the Dolphins. I'm hoping they smoke the Panthers this week, and glad they were supposed to beat the Giants, and they beat them soundly. A-Chain got to set a rookie record. The Miami Dolphins themselves have the most yardage out of any team in NFL history at this point in the season. They've been compared to the Rams' greatest show on turf. So it's been nice seeing like all the Dolphins show up in all these different things. It's just weird when you think of the Broncos, how much they did that year with Peyton Manning, and how much more points that they scored. Even though it looks like the Dolphins are just lighting everything up, the Broncos were just killers, even more so than the greatest show on turf, the Rams. But anyway, that's that. Yep. Next one is the Bengals and Cardinals. We were smoking drugs, man. Think of the Cardinals.
No, we were not. Listen, I'm telling you, not every single week Jamar Chase can be able to catch 15 balls. I'm sorry. And right now he's the only thing that they have that's actually keeping them relevant. I think we made the right bet there but I don't trust the Bengals very much. I just think that this was more, they wanted the game more, needed the game more, but I don't think they're that much better than the Cardinals.
Wow.
I'm dead serious. I don't.
It looked to me like the Bengals were back, but I could be wrong.
They played the Cardinals.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Yeah.
All right, Eagles versus Rams. This one was a heartbreaker because it looked like the Rams might be able to pull this one off.
Yeah, they played well, and then tush push Eagles, started kind of pulling away towards the end of the game. But yeah, this was definitely a kind of a closer game than I expected. But man, I think this is the Eagles this year. I think they're a team that is not going to be really blowing out teams like they were last year. They still play sound defense, but I think they're a team that kind of lets teams hang around, and they slowly take pull away in the fourth quarter, late in the third. Really just wear down defenses. Tons of running on the team, but something that was interestingly said this week, actually on the Kelsey Brothers podcast, was that they're worried about players starting to fake injury. And if players start faking injury from the tush push, it might give the NFL a reason to ban that play.
Wow. Well, yeah, I was thinking the same thing, and they blew up Jason Kelsey's taking out all the biggest dudes. Whether it was Vita Vea with the Bucks or Aaron Donald didn't want any of it. He wasn't
Nope.
even in the bottom of the pile when that was happening. So if the biggest dudes can't stop it, I don't know who's gonna.
Yeah, but I just listen. At the end of the day, I don't like the idea of throwing a $250 million quarterback into that. I just don't like that. When he's your bread and butter, like. But hey, listen, it works for them, and hopefully someone starts figuring out a way to stop it. So
Yeah, yeah. Oh shoot, I got to do a migration at 6. All right.
Okay.
So the Jets and the Broncos. This was this was. Did you see Robert Saleh said stay humble or something
Yes,
to?
I did. I
That was
saw it.
crazy.
Good for the Jets. Good for Hackett to get his revenge. Broncos are exactly who we thought they were. That's all I got to say. They're just a bad team. They're awful.
Yeah. Now this one, Cowboys and 49ers. That was supposedly the battle of the two teams we thought that would be the NFC, and it wasn't even a contest.
All I know is that the 49ers look head and above better than pretty much every team in the NFL right now. But the Cowboys are an actual good team this year, and I'm going to bet them big, whoever they play, whatever the spread is for this next week. The revenge game.
Yeah, it's just like Jamar Chase showed up. Kittle had a big day, and yeah, hey, dude, Brock Purdy is still undefeated in the regular season.
Oh God, it's crazy.
Then,
I don't can't believe. I'm not buying it, but yeah, he's good.
The final one on the week was the Packers versus the Raiders. For 3 quarters, this game looked horrible on TV. The fourth quarter was actually entertaining to watch, but the rest of the game was just. It looked like it was like expansion football to me. Did you catch any of the game?
I was at my conference at this point, and I didn't get a chance to watch any of the games. So, I'm not surprised that either team won or lost that game. So
yeah, I feel bad for Devontae Adams, but I mean it was his own choosing to go there. But
yeah, but you know what was crazy is I guess the coach for the Raiders was talking about how Marcus Peters does that horse collar tackle. I guess because Christian Gonzalez or was it Christian Gonzalez or the Packers receiver that was pretty much about to score. He got horse collar tackled right before, and they held him out of the end zone, and they ended up kicking a field goal. But that would have been the difference in the game. And so I don't know if it was good that he said he made the right play because that's a really dangerous tackle.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing is, can you pull up Hunter Renfro's statistics on this season? Like, I know they have Jacoby Myers and they have Devontae Adams, but Hunter Renfro is extremely good wide receiver who is seemingly not being used. I mean, is Renfro on your radar as a good wide receiver?
Not really, no. But
Really?
I mean, listen, I know he was pretty good last year. He had some decent numbers.
Yeah.
The quarterback situation is really awful in Vegas, so I don't really trust him very much. But I mean, I guess
this guy's averaging like 1 catch a game. What is that?
Well, he had 330 yards in 2020 too. So 2021 was his breakout year, pre Devontae Adams.
Look at that. But dude, he had 103. Yeah, no, I think he might have been hurt at some point last season, but dude, look at that. 103 receptions. That shows you that this guy can do the work.
He did it once.
Okay. True. I mean, yeah, no, true. But most people never even put 100 reception season up. And look at that, 103 receptions, and you're like, he's not even on my radar. And it's like, yeah, but dude, look, he got 100 receptions in a season is a feat. Like that is a feat. So I just think the Raiders are underutilizing him.
Yeah, probably.
Because I think he's an X factor kind of player. Like when he gets the ball, it feels like energy enters. It's like a Taysom Hill kind of thing. When he gets it, it's like, oh yeah, Renfro got it, and like it lifts everybody else up too. I think just get him on a screen pass or something just to fire everybody up, and then the rest will follow. But anyway, all right, what do we got? We got 11 minutes to do our picks of the week.
Yeah, let's run into it. So tonight's game, we got the Broncos Chiefs. We got the Chiefs favorite 10.5. John,
Chiefs.
what are you taking?
I'm taking Chiefs.
Chiefs all the way?
Yeah, taking. Although it's a divisional game, but I'll take the Chiefs.
Yeah, me too. I'll take the Chiefs. Again, I think this is the Russell Wilson benching game officially. And this could get bad pretty early. So, all right, we got the Ravens Titans. Ravens are favored by -4.
Give me the Ravens.
Take the Ravens as well. All right, Panthers Dolphins. Phins are favored 13.5 points, almost 2 touchdowns.
I'll take it. Dolphins.
You sure about that? Okay.
Well,
sure.
I know that the coach said that of the Panthers said that they got to take it slow, but the Dolphins need to take it fast. Tyreek wants 2,000 yards. Tua's got to get that 5,400, and we got to keep. Now that we're on record-setting pace, we got to keep the foot on the pedal. Even though A-Chain being gone hurts that, we still got Mostert. We still got, Waddle hasn't even had a big game this season. So he's got to have a breakout game. He hasn't even had one yet. So
I'm just looking at that number, and it just seems so big.
It's
not that
huge.
I don't think the Dolphins can't win by, 21 points, but gosh, this feels like a backdoor cover to get it within, 13 points or even 10 points. I'm going to go ahead and take the Panthers just to cover, but man, I'm really second guessing myself because I had the Dolphins first, but we'll talk about that next week when I lose.
It feels like a 35-20 game. That's a 15-point difference, but I could see the Panthers getting a field goal maybe in garbage time.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. Seahawks, Bengals. Who you got?
I'm taking Geno.
Yeah,
I'm taking Geno all the way. Yeah. I don't care if they're playing in Cincy. I like Geno.
I'm going with the Bengals because I don't know if Geno's playing. I saw Drew Lock last week when we were doing picks.
That is true, and they did not look like they missed a beat when he came in.
All right,
I don't know. But I'm gonna go Team Geno. Like, I'll check that out. But I even when Geno's not there, he's still winning games. So I'm gonna pick him. So let's go.
Nice. Bengals are back. But all right, Saints Texans. Yep. I'm going with the Saints.
Okay. I'm actually going with the Texans. I think the Texans lost a game they should have won last week. I think the Saints kind of played up and like way over what they should have done. So yeah, I like the Texans on this one.
Wow. Okay.
Colts Jaguars. Who you got?
I got the they're coming back to town. I'll stick with the Minshew might want revenge on the Jaguars though.
Yes, exactly.
All right, I'm gonna be more. I'm swapping over to the Colts.
Okay, I'm actually going with the Colts too as well because I actually think the Colts are a better team. So, 49ers versus the Browns.
49ers.
All right, I'm gonna pick the Browns because I think this is a touchdown type of game. At home, Browns are good defensively. I think they can actually stop a couple of their weapons. I think this is within a touchdown. So, Vikings, Bears.
Oh, Vikings man, that's a good one. Man, the Vikings are favored.
You said that they were the best. They were the best. What team? Like the best?
Yeah, they were the best 0-14. But you know what?
Yeah.
Give me the Bears because Anthony, the wide receiver, whatever his name is, he's not playing. He's out.
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. Anthony Richardson. Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. All right. I'll go with the Bears too because I don't see how the Vikings are going to win that game without having Jefferson in that game. So. Commanders, Falcons.
Man, to me, that's the game of the week right here. Nobody knows who's going to win this, and nobody even knows the difference between those quarterbacks. They're the same. This is the same QB on both teams.
It's the mirror match. It's the mirror match.
This is the mirror game, yeah. And both teams are so similar. But Young Hoku might be the difference of this game. But I think the Commanders need it more. I'm going with the Commanders because they desperately need a win right now.
All right, I'm actually picking the Commanders too. I think the Commanders are upset that they blew that game last week. Looked really, really bad against the Bears. They're actually better than what they did last week. And I think the Falcons just got lucky last week and played better than they probably should have. So
yeah,
come back to earth game. All right, we got the Patriots and Raiders. The Raiders are favored by 2.5 points.
There's a part of me that wants to go with the Patriots because it's Josh McDaniel against Belichick. However, the Raiders defense looked mean AF in that fourth quarter against the Packers. So just due to the fact that the Raiders can play defense, and if they wanted to, they could run it. And I figure that Belichick's going to take out Devontae Adams, which should open it up for Josh Jacobs, which takes the heat off of Jimmy. And the Raiders might even figure out that, hey, guess what? Hunter Renfro's on your team, dudes.
There you go.
So I'm going with the Raiders.
All right, I'm actually going with the Raiders just because of the fact that, not because of Hunter Renfro, but I'm going because of the fact that they're playing at home. To me, these guys are about similar teams, and I just don't trust Mac Jones at all. It's just I think it's just too much. But Lions are favored by 3 points.
Oh man, this might be this is the next best game of the week. But
Yep.
I'm going with the Lions. Jared Goff, baby.
All right. I'm actually going the other way. I'm going with the Bucks. Here's the reason why. Because they are wearing the creamsicle jerseys this week.
Ooh.
And not just that, but this is the first week that Baker Mayfield was voted team captain. So he's actually going to be wearing the captaincy this week. I think this is the game where he's going to be this is his redemption party.
And they were on bye last week.
Yes, they were. So
still is Amon-Ra St. Brown playing?
Are you second guessing yourself right now? I think he should be playing. Yeah. I understand.
I'll stay with the Lions. All right.
Cardinals, Rams.
Puka Nacua and the guys back. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and Tutu Atwell.
I got the Cardinals in a bounce back game that they should have kept it closer against the Bengals. The Rams are just I think we've seen them peak already. I'm gonna pick the Cardinals to keep covering. Keep doing it until they do it 3 times in a row.
James Conner is out of the game, right?
Yeah, I do. Yep. All right, we got the Eagles and the Jets. What you taking?
Eagles by 21.
Oh, okay.
But hey, the Jets of all teams, maybe the Jets could figure this friggin' thing out. The tush push.
Maybe they're a good defense. And Zach Wilson's actually playing better.
That would be
something last week.
The irony, that would be the ironic twist that it's the Jets that finally figured it out.
The Jets are the one the one that defeats the undefeated team, the undefeated Eagles team. Yeah, and figures out the tush push. So I'm not buying it though. So I'll take the Eagles to cover.
Yeah, same here.
All right. So Giants and Bills. What you got?
The Bills by 40.
I know. I agree with you on that one. Bills had a really, really bad loss. They looked awful in that game. This is the type of revenge game that I think that they probably need to make themselves better again. Yep. All right. Cowboys versus Chargers. Who you got?
I can't believe the point spread's that low. Cowboys.
All right. Cowboys it is for me too as well. Bad loss last week. One last question. Thursday night special.
Yep.
Who's the first touchdown scorer of this game?
Oh man, I'm gonna say Sky Moore or Justin Watson or it might be somebody on the team they're playing, the Broncos. It might be Javonte Williams.
Javonte Williams. Okay, I'm going with Isaiah Pacheco, but you can go with Javonte. So
okay. The Broncos will make it. I just feel like the Broncos are going to make it look like it might be a game at the beginning, just due to the scripting, and then reality is going to kick in.
All right, I'm gonna give the winner of the first touchdown score, if they win, an extra 10 points for the week. How about that?
Nice.
So All right.
All right, I got to wrap. I just got a text that dinner's being served, but we did knock it out. That's week 6. Go Kansas City Chiefs. Go Miami Dolphins. Go Isaiah Pacheco for that first touchdown score. I just don't know if lightning in a bottle strikes twice. But we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, let's go 3 in a row. Come on. All right. We'll talk to you later.
All right.
All right.
See ya.